Want to dress up as a banana or the Star Wars character Boba Fett? What about a V-Buck? What is that exactly, and how does an emote work? Well, if you're hearing these terms for the first time, we're excited to invite you to our episode on Fortnite, the massively popular online multiplayer game that has taken the world by storm. But is Fortnite good for children's mental health, or is it something that clinicians and parents should be concerned about? Well, let's dive into this week's episode on Fortnite.
Hi, my name is Wes, and today we're talking about Fortnite. So what is Fortnite? Fortnite is a popular online multiplayer video game pitting players against one another in a competition to survive through the use of weaponry to eliminate other players and building forts for defense to remain alive. There are three main game modes available to play in Fortnite. Battle Royale is the most popular, in which up to 100 live players are put on a map and fight each other using various weapons until one person or team remains. The other two modes are called Creative, where players focus on building their own forts and exploring the map, and Save the World, where a team of players cooperates in fighting against zombie-like creatures while building structures, rescuing survivors, and expanding the size of their safe environment. Players can purchase in-game currency called V-Bucks that can then be used to buy items that allow them to express themselves, like a certain outfit, often called skins, or dance, often called emotes. Collaborations with various individuals, brands, and companies such as Ariana Grande, Stranger Things, and the National Football League enhance this experience with themed skins and other coveted cosmetics that can be bought. Fortnite is wildly popular, with 239 million monthly players, and is available on phone, tablet, PC, and various consoles. So what are some potential benefits of the game? Well, playing action video games like Fortnite may help individuals learn or improve upon their cognitive skills such as executive functioning and perceptual processing. When playing with others online, Fortnite may promote pro-social behaviors such as teamwork and empathy. Social relationships can also form through the game, which can supplement other social networks or turn into offline relationships themselves. So what are some potential harms of the game? Well, although there is no blood and gore, the game can still be violent. Video games that involve violence have been linked to aggression, however, no causality has ever been established. Children can be exposed to profanity or inappropriate content via communication with other players by text or voice, but parental controls have the potential to limit these interactions. Children could become so engrossed in the game and neglect real-life responsibilities or social interactions as well. So what are some ways to promote positivity and avoid some of these harms? Well, you can talk with your child about expectations for the games, including what time limits you set and what to do if they encounter bullying or inappropriate content. Additionally, check out all of the parental controls available on Fortnite. Ways you can manage how your child plays the game include purchasing permissions, changing communication settings for voice and text, and tracking how long they're online each week. Monitor their spending in terms of V-Bucks. Earning in-game currency can either serve as a reward for good behavior, but can drive the desire to play above a reasonable amount. Overall, continue to check in with your child about Fortnite. See what their character looks like, ask them about any in-game events that you might be excited about, or if they know what the next season of the game will be. Don't be afraid to try the game yourself too, as this can help you understand the game better and strengthen your relationship with your child.
Reading your paper and your research, you mentioned in your work how you've noticed that your son was protecting a newer, younger player and ensuring that they had a good time playing Fortnite. I was wondering to ask you, what does that say about how the game can promote socialization, even while being violent?
Yeah, I think from that article at that time, what prompted me to write it was this experience where my son was actually taken under the wing initially by a group of older kids who were playing Fortnite. It was his birthday. It was May of 2020, so it was like 2 months
Right in the
into
pandemic.
COVID. Just in the pandemic, and I'd never let him play Fortnite before because our family is very anti-gun. And so, I've never even let them have water guns or Nerf guns at our house. And so for me, it was hard to let go and be like, okay, this is something he really wants to do. But he talked me into it. He was like, all my friends are playing. I want to socialize with them. And then on his birthday, none of his friends were on, but he sort of fell into a squad with these three other guys who were all friends. They were older. And they took him under his wing for the whole night. Basically, they protected him. They helped him, get stuff. They played with him again and again. And he had a really, really good time. And so especially in that time where everybody was so isolated, to see him connecting not only with his friends, but connecting with strangers who were willing to be so pro-social. I didn't say that to him, but who were willing to be so kind to him and bring him in. That was really powerful for me. And it really was a turning point in terms of me thinking about Fortnite differently. And since then, I've definitely seen him taking other people under his wing, and even his younger brother, who is 5 years younger than him.
Ah,
They'll play together now. And so his younger brother will join his squads and his teams, and he teaches him. I hear them shouting from room to room
okay. So they
as
play in
well.
different rooms.
They're in different rooms,
Sure.
but I'll hear them like mute their mics and then shout back and forth to each other, which is pretty funny. But I think there's so much socialization that happens on Fortnite. From my research perspective, I'm fascinated by all the moral choices that children make, right? So are you helping somebody at risk to yourself? I mean, these choices are happening constantly throughout even a short game, right? And so those choices don't happen all the time in real life.
Sure.
It might happen once or twice a week, oh, this is going to mean that I'm going to have to put somebody above myself. At what cost to myself? But on Fortnite, these are happening multiple times within every game, right? So it's fascinating to me that they are almost having these interactions, moral development and social development rapidly. I think that's really, really cool about it. I want to know more about that. I would love to see research studies, like I mentioned in the article, where we're watching for that. How does that change over time?
If we were to observe these streams, like, what do you think the trends like we could observe and maybe qualify for data purposes, like to publish, for example?
But I would love to be following people over time. So perhaps, over the course of a year or 2 years, watching children, especially as they transition to adolescence.
Sure.
I would love to see the ways in which their game style changes in terms of, their interactions with other people. Are they more willing to, reach out to strangers, for example? Are they more willing to make those connections, play with the same people over time? So you might be looking at like a social network perspective, but then you could also be looking at it from a moral development perspective, as I mentioned. You could be looking, how are they establishing rules over time? We know, for example, from Piaget that the ways in which children establish rules, that's critical, the way they interact and they negotiate those things. So how are we seeing that in digital space over a period of time amongst, a particular child or a set of children? I think we could learn so much about the ways in which child development is happening in the digital world, in a virtual microsystem like that.
Because I wonder if parents ever think like, what's my kid going to be like at 12 versus 7 playing this game? What's the difference maybe you see in your small, not random sample size that you have at home?
My younger son started playing, he's 9 now. He started playing maybe a year or two after that article came out. Mm-hmm. And he was in a squad with somebody who claimed to be Tito's cousin, who's like, makes a lot of YouTube videos about Fortnite, very famous Fortnite player. And this guy was claiming to be his cousin. And, my son was like, this is his cousin. I know it is. And I was like, Grace, not everybody appears to be who they seem to be. And he was like, no, I'm for sure. And I was like, okay, well, I'll come on with you next time and let's ask him some questions. So we started the next time I was sitting there with them and I'm like, ask these questions, and then he was like, eventually he's like, are you really, and the guy went offline and never came back. And so I was like, Grayson, it's probably evident that that person really wasn't who they said they were. So it's a great example of a ways in which he kind of learned, oh, wow, not everybody's who they present to be. I need to be thinking critically about that. And I think for me, like, that's what I encourage parents that I work with, or I'm parent coaching, is to say, play the games with them, see what's going on, right? Participate. And that way, when things happen, they're going to come to you with that. And you can understand and you can have that language to talk with them.
How often do you play Fortnite? And do you play with any other parents who have kids who play Fortnite?
I don't, it's funny. We've spent the entire summer playing Hogwarts Legacy. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So a different game.
So we haven't played Fortnite in a long time around here because we've been very much in the Hogwarts world.
Sure.
But I play all the time with them with that. And the best thing is I am horrible at fighting. Like, even in Fortnite, I'm terrible, which is great because it's an opportunity for them to teach me, right? Mm-hmm.
How powerful is it for kids to teach their parents about things?
I think it really creates a situation in which he feels comfortable coming to me with everything, or things that are problematic to him. I want him to see me as somebody who's a real person, right? Somebody who has feelings and thoughts and who can also learn and get better And so,
Hmm.
if I'm making a mistake and I'm apologizing, I'm going to try to do this better next time. That he sees that I'm also a person who's growing and changing over time. And that I can get better at things just like he can.
Problematic gaming. So like the excessive use, or using getting mom or dad's credit card and spending a lot of V-Bucks on skins or things of that nature.
Yeah. That happened one time. Yeah.
Oh, that did. Okay. How do we?
Yeah.
Where do we go from there? How would you advise a parent, or what did you do? Just out of
I mean,
curiosity.
honestly, I make really good use of parental controls. So in our home, we have a Eero router. And so all of my children have profiles on that. And so it's set up so that all their devices go off at a certain time every night. But then also within their different devices, I use screen time. I use the Sony PlayStation app as well to set limits on how much time they can have. And obviously I change those across the course of their development. So my older son has more time. He has a later bedtime. But I really set it up such that you have an allowance of time. You get to decide when you want to use it. And once it's done, it's done. It's gravity. This is what it is. I mean, I think that we do anything too much and it's a problem.
Hmm.
Even if we're exercising too much, that's problematic, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
We become, fixated on, different parts of our health and do that to excess. It's a problem. We can always do things to excess. So, I think the issue is we have to try to model moderation
Hmm.
and we have to set boundaries and limits that are age appropriate. And I personally would prefer to do that using technology than doing it
Sure.
myself. I don't want to get in that tug of war, but I've only been on an hour and part of that time I had to go to the bathroom. So, can I please use it more? I don't want to get into a tug of war with the actual devices. I would rather be hands off and say, it is what it is. If you want to talk about changing your limits, let's sit down as a family and renegotiate. But this is where the limits are right now. And this is what I feel is appropriate.
As clinicians, what do we know about Fortnite? And what exactly is a battle royale?
I'll take a stab, not
Sure.
having ever playing a whole battle royale myself, and I don't know if others, maybe Lucia, if anyone here has. What I do know is there's a few different ways to play Fortnite, just like there are with many games. There's different modes. I think the most popular one is the battle royale mode, in which 100 players from around the world, real people, are in the same land or space or town, so to speak, and they are all fighting one another with the goal to be the last person standing. So you start with 100. As the battle royale proceeds, you see in the corner, oh, there's only 85 people left. Oh, there's only 30 people left. So the stakes get higher, and the world gets smaller as time goes by. So people can't just hide out. And of course the stakes increase and the intensity increases as there's fewer and fewer people left. And as long as we're describing this right now, you can imagine if you're a 16-year-old dude playing Fortnite and doing a battle royale and there's 4 people left, and all of a sudden somebody comes in and says screen time is over and unplugs the thing, you'll be pretty upset. That's my intro to
Do you think you'd be more upset than if they did it at the very beginning then? Sounds like it. When it's like yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think that's like a perfect kind of like introduction into it. And I think the most common question I get asked about is, what you were saying, when to stop playing, how to stop playing. And I think for parents and clinicians to know is that matches in each of these games, right, they last differently. And if you have 50 people left versus 100 people left, you're going to have a different amount of time. So setting a time limit for 10 minutes or 15 minutes might not exactly be fair to the kid. What is more understandable is that the average length, according to some resources online, is about 15 to 20 minutes per match. So
assuming you make it to the end.
If you make it to the end. What's a skin? What's a cosmetic item? Why do kids want these things? And why are they torching their parents' credit cards by spending so much money on them? Can we help the audience understand that?
Fortnite was famous or revolutionized the multiplayer online gaming because the characters was so customizable. I mean, there's been a lot of games where you could customize a character. You could like change the hair color and stuff like that, but it was all based on set a collection of preset models. Fortnite was really the first major game where it really expanded the customization options for how you build your character. And in fact, they also would pull in skins from other franchises.
That aligns perfectly for adolescents that are trying to navigate that like identity first conform like area, and kind of it's a huge push for them at that age also to kind of figure out that task. Really.
And I have had students, I've had high school student age patients who have told me in no uncertain terms they care more about their character's fashion than their own. And they would rather upgrade their character's appearance than spend the same money buying a new shirt or pair of shoes for themselves in some case. So that's gets your answer about torching your parents' money. This would probably be a good time to also introduce the concept of emotes. And you can also, I think, purchase or upgrade emotes the same way that you would with a skin. And that is when your player wins, they basically do their emote. And it might be the Macarena dance, it might be a well-known dance, or it might be some other cool thing. And that's just very kind of motivating for people. I have, as a clinician, said, what is your celebration dance to kids? And they'll come up and do it. And it really breaks the ice too.
All these battle royale games in general are broken into chapters. Each chapter lasts roughly 1 to 2 years. And within a chapter are seasons. Seasons last about 2 to 5 months. And in each season, you get a battle pass. In that battle pass, you earn rewards. So if you play well, you get rewards. If you buy things, you get rewards. So you have a tiered system in which you don't have to spend any money to get the cosmetic items you want in the battle pass. However, if you do spend the money, you get those items much faster than earning them. And people will argue, what's the point? Just play the game. But as you were saying with identity, it's important to have the best emoji. It's important to have the banana suit for your character. And if I can get that quicker, I don't delay gratification. I get it quickly.
Well, and I think that's true in the real world for some adults too, right? Like I could put in the work to kind of earn this thing, or if I have the extra funds, I can just buy it, right? And you know something about that person when they have a certain product.
The game isn't actually just about going in and battling. I mean, that is a really big component to it. But there are social events that happens in the Fortnite arenas. They have concerts. They hold concerts on those things where people get together and they just party. And you see people dancing their emotes in the concert. And that's how they stand out with their special skins and everything. They're making friends. There's social interactions. It's an extremely socially interactive game and not always competitively.
Do those happen within battle royales, or is it a different game mode where they're going to hang out and dance and have concerts?
The thing is, when you go into battle royale, if you have because you can work together with other people on particular servers. It's all server dependent. So if you are on the same server, you can just decide ahead of time with your friends, we're not actually going to battle. We're going to go and have a party.
Oh, right. And
it's a place to just cut, you take the you're not, instead of trying to kill each other, you're just there just kind of playing around.
What language should I use, or how do we teach parents to use the right language when it comes to Fortnite, so that the children can hear it, and the parents aren't seen as this, black or white authoritative dictator that just takes the, video game away for an allotted amount of time? What's the language that parents should use?
If you had a child kind of coming in and talking to you and saying like, okay, so mom and dad's credit card so that I can go and buy Nikes, or, because that's what everyone's wearing right now, right? Like, I still kind of see the parents being upset by that too, right? Like, I think it's helpful to know and to be like, hey, I understand what you're going. It's helpful to know that it's a real product to them, as opposed to this like imaginary game that it's actually going toward a real product. But I kind of see it working better almost as a reward system too, and kind of knowing what you can reward and what you're actually going to. I don't know that I would want a kid to have access to the credit card or to be able to kind of have the
of
setting
course.
to spend on it if they're spending pretty freely with somebody else's money. And so I do think it's still a trust question, but maybe I'm wrong here.
I mean, you're right. It's really not any different from, the kid being involved in any other major hobby. I mean, parents having that same argument with, a kid who's like really into building models, and they're just spending excessive amounts of money in the model store because they want to buy this new model that came out, or, this pack that just came out. And the parents are still going to have to say, well, no, you do not get free access to the credit card. You get enough $20, every 2 months to buy this new model kit that you want.
So today you learned about Fortnite, the massively popular online video game that promotes team-based skill playing. But also it can be a problem when it comes to spending money, such as V-Bucks. If you'd like to learn more about any of these video games or social media topics that come up in either your clinic or your household, feel free to check out any of our explorations below. Thanks for stopping by.